Hi everyone, I'm Diana Palm, the Love Witch. I am a love attraction specialist and I am really good at rewiring your subconscious programs so that you can receive the love that you were meant to have. I wanted to talk to you today about setting healthy boundaries and what those should be for you, what they should look like in relationship, and how you can honor and love yourself without putting all your focus on boundaries and people stepping over your boundaries. I'm a very psychic, empathic person. I always have been. I was born that way. When I was much younger, I did not know how to have healthy boundaries for myself. In fact, I probably crossed my boundaries more than anybody else because I was always giving, always forgiving, and always giving a lot of myself. And I didn't realize until much later in life that you actually should have boundaries, that people should not be able to step over those boundaries, cross your boundaries, take advantage of you, manipulate you, or harm you in any way. I had to learn that through going through life experiences and deciding for myself as I matured and as I grew and learned and went through tough life lessons that yes, you do need to have boundaries in place and you should know what those are so that you're not confronted by them on the spot, because that's when they can take you off guard, when you're less likely to hold a boundary in place. So knowing what your boundaries are is really important. But at the same time, it's really important that you're not focusing on the boundaries. And here's what I mean by that. After finally establishing healthy boundaries in my life, I became what I would call the queen of boundaries. Yes, I was the queen of boundaries. I had a lot of great healthy boundaries established for myself. But the problem was, in my focus of all those boundaries, I would still attract people to me that would come right up against that boundary, try to step over it, and then I would establish the boundary. So you can see in that energy how resistant it is and what kind of conflict it creates in your life. That's what I had experienced. Then one day I was working on my own healing and advancing my training. So I was working with another healer. And what they suggested to me was that I release all boundaries. And I couldn't believe it because, like I said, I identified with myself as being queen of boundaries. I thought about what this person was saying to me, releasing all my boundaries. And what they suggested is that if I release my boundaries and program myself to believe that people will come in respectful, knowing how to treat me, and being honorable, that I wouldn't need that push and pull. I wouldn't need a hardcore boundary. I wouldn't need to establish boxes around myself and defenses and ways to protect myself. So I gave that some thought and I realized that yes, letting people come right up to my boundary and then slapping it down created a barrier to my emotions, to my heart, and in some ways to my authenticity. So I decided to bring in more trust and discernment for those that I spent time with in my life. I brought in belief systems that the people I would attract into my life would already come knowing my value and come in with love and support for me instead of the desire to push those boundaries or to see if they could step over them. And I have to say that it worked. Of course, I did do the work. I had to establish more trust and faith in myself and in my selection process and in my discerning who would be good for me to spend time with or to get close to. The tricky thing is about boundaries is that they're established very early on in any relationship. Sometimes boundaries are established when you first lay your eyes on someone. You know if you can get away with things just by the way they look and feel. Even when people have not developed their psychic abilities, we are all still psychic. And we read people. We read and interpret energy on a daily basis. So when you meet somebody for the very first time, you innately know if you can step over their boundaries or if they have really healthy self-respect and boundaries in place. So I want you to think about that as you go through your day today. I want you to look at people in your environment, whether it's work or family or friends, and I want you to think about how intuitive you really are, because you innately know what you can get away with and what you can't based on the person. That's you reading energy. Everyone does it. So the more you actually project self-respect and healthy expectations in a relationship, the less you'll actually have to push and pull with those boundaries, establishing boundaries, protecting your boundaries and asserting your boundaries and focusing on your boundaries. Because the truth is, when you're focused on boundaries, you will bring in people who will push your boundaries. So the takeaway today is to release those boundaries and trust and know that you are a dynamic creator, that you're currently attracting brand new people to you that will love and respect you, and that you no longer have to be so guarded and protected behind those big hardcore boundaries. You can be safe in the world, experience the kind of love and respect in relationships that you were meant to. Give me a heart below if you have either lacked boundaries or gone the other way and established too many boundaries. And let me know how it makes you feel to think about living life without focusing on your boundaries. What does that feel like to you? Are you willing to give it a shot? Are you willing to experience people coming in knowing and expecting them to respect you? While you're still here on my channel, be sure to go up to the banner and check out my free inner temple meditation. It is extremely healing. It's focused for divine feminines to get back into your beautiful, strong female energy. So be sure to check that out. And if you're interested in changing more programs and beliefs around love and relationships so that you can create a dynamic, loving relationship or attract your divine life partner, be sure to check out my program, Manifesting Your Soulmate System. It's right down below in the description. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I can't wait to help you all fall in love.